Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight's main news. Let's look at the headlines. Railway line land reserve encroached in LUSAKA'S KAMWALA area. Pressure group demands the return of Vedanta Resources Limited. The government set to start the distribution of health kits across the country. In international headlines, Rwandan genocide, FULGENCE KAYISHEMA tried in Cape Town. And in sport, Vedanta Resources Limited gift AGUILA Football Club Zambia 188,500 KWACHA. We have the details shortly after this message.
The Standing in the Gap team, in conjunction with Francis Miles Ministries International, presents the Prayer Rally Crusade and Overnight, to be held at the Ground of Healing Word International Ministries in Ibex Hill from the 25th to the 26th of May 2023. Tagged Rendering the Heavens for National Revival. Don't forget, it's this Thursday, the 25th of May. Time from 16 hours till 19 hours. And on Friday, the 26th of May, it's from 17 hours to 20 hours. Henceforth, we continue with an overnight prayer meeting from 20 hours to 06 hours in the morning. Speakers include Apostle Sunday, Pastor Wupesinyangwe, and Dr. Francis Miles. Featuring in music, Ephraim, Son of Africa, Christine and Tim Reason, Pastor Gift Kaputula, Minister Temwani, Pastor Washi, and many more. You can't afford to miss this. Admission is absolutely free. It's not over until God says it's over. It is fire for fire.
Thank you so much for joining us to present the news. My name is Louisia Nalupumbwe. Some unscrupulous people have begun constructing permanent shop structures near the railway line at LUSAKA'S KAMWALA market, prompting the truck drivers who have been designated by the railway authority to park on the said land to complain over the matter. One of the truck drivers, identified as Wilson Mwila, says truck drivers were allowed by the Zambia Railway Authority to use the place for parking their trucks on the basis that trucks are movable and not permanent structures. The truck driver states that the coming in of the permanent structures and mobile money booths along the line of rail has, however, started forcing them to park their trucks on the road, hence blocking other vehicles from passing freely. Details are in this report.
The fight for trading space in Lusaka Central Business District has long been existing, which has seen some traders at Lusaka's KAMWALA market selling right next to the railway line, endangering both themselves and their young children, whom they often leave sleeping near their goods as they go about their business of selling. These, along with those that have erected mobile money booths along the line of rail, and others who are now putting up permanent structures using concrete near the rail line, have been seen as a nuisance by the shop owners here, as they state that these are constructed right in front of their shops, hence making business slow. Friday morning, a riot almost ensued at KAMWALA's trading area after some truck drivers felt that they had had enough, as they are now being forced to park their trucks on the road reserve as opposed to behind the railway due to this activity, which is the space they claim they were given as parking space by the Zambia Railway Authority. Another concern raised is that the illegal squatters do not have toilets or other facilities such as bins, leading to them relieving themselves outside the police container, as well as disposing of their waste at the same place.
We are complaining to the MP, whoever is responsible, to come and help us so that they don't put up structures here. Because if they put up structures here, where are we going to go? Because we are also people. We are also people, residents of this nation. We also voted, okay? So we also need to feed our families. And then there are a lot of inconveniencing through the cadres that are coming from, I don't know, whichever offices. They are not coming on the ground to consult us, to tell us what they are going to do here. We are just coming out in the morning, we find the structures have been put. Nomba, if when bomba, tulasela, tetwaikalira pamopene, ngefitwambo kumwana wabalesa barekulo ku
kozi mumbali yanjanji batu bati takwa bechikulu aichinge kala mumbali yanjanji namba yefe tulabomba nokufuma po twafuma nopo twiminina nopo treni ipitira patali sana twalikwata po problemu yakwatirimbi bapunko omuntu mulandu pantu tulapakinga kwa matrakta kwabo nombechala tudabwisha ifwe tulefwa tuishi babalekula ifitule mona kulia kunu makulia bushe ni bakanso ni balwelwe nangu ni banani.
The aggrieved parties are now calling for the Zambia Rail Authority and the Lusaka City Council to swiftly move in and restore order, failure to which they say they will take matters into their own hands and demolish the booths and the structures built along the line of rail. Meanwhile, KAMWALA Ward 5 Councillor Mainda Simata says he has engaged the Department of City Planning at the Lusaka City Council several times, but no action has been taken.
Yeah, I'm very much aware about all those issues. And the way we deal with such issues is that we forward them to the rightful council department to deal with them. In this case, it is city planning. So the issue that we have with city planning is that when we make resolutions as councillors, or we give them directives or complaints forwarded by various stakeholders, they do not act on them. So for me, it's the fault of the council. That is illegal. If they are using bricks, that is illegal. You don't build the permanent structure 50 meters within the rail line. It's illegal. It's against the law.
The trading community has also called for the construction of good roads and drainages, stating that the place becomes inaccessible during the rain season. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Vedanta Must Return campaign group on the Copper Belt have appealed to the government to urgently address the differences it has with Vedanta Resources Limited to ensure that the two mines become fully operational. Addressing the press in Chidila-Vombwe on the Copper Belt, Edith Chikwikwi says Vedanta Resources Limited is a better placed investor to take over the mine, adding that the Copper Belt was doing well when Vedanta was mining the two mines. Meanwhile, John Wembe, a member of the campaign group, has also called on government to listen to the cries of the people in the Copper Belt, who he says are suffering due to the two mines not fully functioning. Details are in this report.
On Wednesday, 24th May 2023, while addressing the media, Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe assured that government had resolved the hiccup that delayed the conclusion of Mopani and Konkola copper mine negotiations. Mr. Kabuswe disclosed that some legal issues popped up during the negotiations which resulted in the delays, but assured that government would soon be making an announcement regarding the two mines. As controversy continues to surround the return of Vedanta mineral resources to the country's mining sector after its suspension, and Mines Minister's assurance remaining valid, some Chilila-Vombwe and Chingola youths in the northern parts of the country are saddened that the delay to resolve the issues of Vedanta is promoting poverty in the area. Edith Chikwikwi says the delay to resolve the Vedanta issues is forcing residents in the region of the country to move to villages due to non-availability of jobs.
Last time in the first quarter of 2023, nkachita respond fikambo kutitika, but not that one afikokola. Baleta fe next week, mairo. Mone community for tuikere buino. People are suffering. Inchito tatukwete, inchito umeba tabakwete, bale chula mushumu. And women are failing to get married. Umlando kwa tingana upwa, bale ntwala pe, bakalansu ngashani. Nomba. Ngata mwatwa afu, ngata mwabombe lepo, ngata mwachite respond wangu. Abantu bakalayika lashani. Abantu bala bomba shani. Abantu abengi bale chula. Bamina abwele na mishi bale mafamu. No mafamu moto wala sungira bana besu. Mafamu moto wala ikalira. Please to apapata.
Others explain that the delay has affected all sectors in the region and are appealing to Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe to quickly come to their rescue.
Currently, nothing is happening. Only abale fola, balabe na abale bomba, ebale mfuafewe. But ingatwaisa isa ku community kule chitikila mine activities. Tapali na ngufimwe filiko. So echo tule kabila. Chakuti since human hinefwe vendata alilanda ukutila ndeisa mukuingisha nchito ndeisa mukulundila aba bomfini pia aleisa na mukupampinga mwempia ama milioni ishosho muchibe mbande itati imi itapengwa because ifo twalisiwa kubikamo
being concerned as community members as to why it is taking so long. Whatever issues might be there, our plea and recommendation is that the government ensures that as soon as possible those issues are resolved. You see, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people that are against the return of Vedanta resources, for example. Abantu abekala ku Lusaka, ba politician, balela ndokwatiyo buteko which umuchele okufina bomfa kuntu usendele fwebe kele muno mushuko obulama chitonga bapungweni fwebo fwebe kele muno bushi ukwabula.
For now, these youths will have to wait for the fulfillment of the minister's assurance. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
Government says the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency ZAMSA has put all required logistics in place to distribute across the country in a record time of 2 weeks the health center kits, which arrives on Monday this week. Acting Health Minister Mlambo Hayimba says the health center kit consists of 58 different products ranging from essential medicines such as various antibiotics, pain medication, antifungals to gloves, just to mention a few. Mr. Hayimba also says ZAMSA has initiated bulk procurements with short lead times through the Unified Procurement Authority of Egypt and the United Nations agencies to address the stock imbalances in the medicines and medical supplies in the country. In addition, the acting health minister says ZAMSA has also awarded contracts for anesthetics medicines, cancer medicines, dental commodities, orthopedic, trauma and maxillofacial commodities to last over a year once delivered. On Monday, 23rd May 2023, the country witnessed the arrival of 50 health center kits airlifted to set the pace for the arrival of the first batch from the 42,000 kits procured from Mission Pharma of India.
Of His Excellency the President, Mr. KAYISHEMA, is committed to improve the availability of essential medicines in 2023. I repeat to assure the public that the country is well positioned to address the current stock imbalances in our public health facilities. Once the health center kits and the bulk procurements come in, there will be significant improvement in commodity availability in our health facilities. The Ministry of Health is working around the clock to unlock all rigidities in the procurement cycle, including reviewing the Public Procurement Act in conjunction with the Ministry of Justice to ensure that it is aligned to support the specialized nature of medicines and medical supplies for the health sector.
Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Joe Kamoko, has called on collective efforts among citizens in fighting menstrual stigmatization. Speaking during the launch of Menstrual Hygiene Day Friday, Mr. Kamoko says prioritizing safe menstrual hygiene practices in the country is key in the quest to bridge gender inequalities. He says menstrual hygiene discussions should be adopted in various homes to eradicate the misinformation and myths which indicate that menstrual hygiene is a taboo. Here is a report.
Of young people worldwide, menstruation is a monthly certainty. Yet in many countries like Zambia, they still face serious challenges when it comes to managing their periods. Myths, stigma and harmful gender norms around menstruation worsens the difficulties for young people across the world. In this regard, government has seen the need to fight societal myths surrounding menstruation. Ministry of Education, Director of School of Health and Nutrition, Malalu Mulundika, speaks to the cause.
Girl can manage her menstrual health without stigma, humiliation, or barriers. The theme is a clarion call for all of us as stakeholders involved in water, sanitation, and hygiene to ensure that society understands menstruation as a normal occurrence in our female form. We should all endeavor to fight to eliminate stigma associated with menstruation. Further, we must ensure that appropriate menstrual hygiene.
While lack of menstrual materials compromises health, causes discomfort, among other effects, the need to facilitate for adequate supply of menstrual materials cannot be undermined.
Ensuring that girls have access to accurate information, safe sanitary facilities, and necessary support. By so doing, you are paving the way for a more inclusive and equitable society, where menstruation is embraced as a natural and normal part of life.
This year's Menstrual Hygiene Day, which falls on the 28th May, is observed under the theme, Making Menstruation a Normal Fact of Life by 2030. We are committed to inclusive access. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
United Party for National Development UPND member Stephen Masumba has called on to an end the exchange of words between the church and politicians, as this has the potential to create disunity in the country. Addressing the media Friday, Mr. Masumba, who is also former Mfumba Member of Parliament, states that the church should focus on its role of offering sound moral advice, while politicians should refrain from exchanging words with the church, as witnessed in the recent past. Meanwhile, Mr. Masumba has commended some Patriotic Front PF members of Parliament who on 24th of May 2023 applauded the head of state during the commissioning of the Constituency Development Fund CDF monitoring vehicles, stating that politics of division should not be entertained. Details are in this report.
With Zambia having joined the rest of the continent in commemorating Africa Day on 25th May 2023, a member of the United Party for National Development UPND, Stephen Masumba, says there is need for the church and political parties to stop being at each other's throats for the sake of unity in the country. Mr. Masumba, who's also a former Mufumbe Member of Parliament, told members of the media Friday that the exchange of words that has been ensuing in the country between the two parties over whether the cost of living in the country has reduced is only likely to spark hatred and disunity if not controlled.
When there is a standoff, let's get to sit together in a proper way, in a sober manner, and harmonize. Moreover, Zambia belongs to every one of us, both the church, the politicians, the Ngangas and the Nefia Sharafins. We are all Zambians. So, and that is why I feel strongly that, look here, President Hakainde Hichilema is not problematic. He is running a government that believes in an open door policy. When you see something wrong, reach out. How come us we manage? We tell him. When there is something wrong, we tell him. We say, sir, that thing must be handled like ABC. It's not immune to any criticism, and that must be known. But this arrangement of where we want to create a perception and wanting to imbalance, I think there are better ways.
He states that what should be embraced is unity, as was seen by some Patriotic Front members of Parliament who on Wednesday, 25th May 2023, commended the UPND administration for the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund CDF initiative during the commissioning of CDF vehicles for the 156 constituencies in the country. The former Mufumbo lawmaker says anyone labeling the MPs as having lost loyalty to their party should be ashamed, as lawmakers should endeavor to fight for common good.
This project we are having, it is not a UPND project. It is not a PF project, but it is a Zambian project. And as long as you feel that you are associated to Zambia, and you are Zambian, and you are also serving the Zambian people, I think Honorable Mungandu did a commendable job, and that is how it should be. But if you guys in the PF, you want to trade with the little numbers so far that you have actually remained with, because for your own information, if you think because you are counting, the numbers of MPs that you have, that, because they were elected at a time we had a general election, and you think that that can be, the interpretation of those number of MPs is entails that those are the numbers that you have at the grassroots level, let me borrow the good words from, my elder brother, given honorable, given that Mwanyala BPF, Mwanyala. Why do I say so? It's because the grassroots has already shifted. You are on your own. And instead of now being humble, you know, embracing the tenets of democracy and so on, then you begin adding salt to the wound.
Meanwhile, Mr. Masumba has sent a warning to health workers across the country who may want to sabotage the government by stealing public medicine, stating that UPND members are on the ground and monitoring everything. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Lumezi Constituency Independent Member of Parliament Munia Zulu has pleaded not guilty to a charge of hate speech. Mr. Zulu denied the charge Friday when he appeared before Lusaka Magistrate Emma Masoja. Mr. Zulu is alleged to have disrespected the people of Wengwa in Southern Province in April this year. More in this report.
Independent Member of Parliament for Lumezi Munia Zulu made his first appearance before the Lusaka Magistrate Court since his arrest in April this year. The lawmaker was before court in relation to a charge he was recently slapped with of expressing or showing hatred, ridicule or contempt for persons because of race. The offense that is facing is contrary to Section 71 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia, a charge which he has denied this morning, Friday, the 26th of May 2023, before Magistrate Emmy Masoja. According to record before court, the accused on the 28th of March issued a statement where he claimed that a villager from Lumezi is more intelligent than villagers from Bwengwa. The alleged utterance were made shortly after his release from police custody at Long Acres, where he was detained for another offense. Authorities state that the cited words allegedly showed hatred against the race. A citizen had lodged a complaint against him after his remarks went viral on social media.
It's an interesting fight. It has moved from the ACC issues to being a police matter, but I will not say much for now. We've been released on bond, but I want to tell you something. I'm a villager from Lumezi, but the villagers of Lumezi are more intelligent than villagers of Wengwa. Thank you.
Trial commences on the 28th of June 2023. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
An employee at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has told the court that procedures were never followed during the procurement of property for the ministry in Turkey. Safiri Muluti, a principal internal auditor at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has however disclosed during a cross-examination that she cannot point out which clauses indicate that the procedure was illegally done. This is in a case in which former Secretary to the Treasury, Fred Sonyamba, is facing 2 counts of willful failure to comply with laid-down procedures, while his co-accused former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Joseph Malanji, faced 8 counts of being in possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime. More in this report.
A witness was put under pressure Friday during cross-examination when defense lawyers representing former Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Malanji and his co-accused former Secretary to the Treasury Fred Sonyamba requested that the witness show court which clause indicate that the funds to purchase property for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Turkey were not supposed to be sent direct to the mission. Safiri Muluti, a principal internal auditor at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, informed the Economic and Financial Crimes Court that she was under pressure and needed more time when lawyers insisted that she found a clause which stated that it was illegal for the Ministry of Finance to send the funds direct to the mission. In this matter, the state accuses Mr. Yamba of not adhering to guidelines relating to the management of the National Treasury when he approved the transfer of monies to purchase a chancery for the Zambian mission in Turkey. Mr. Yamba is accused of approving the transfer of 45.8 million to the Zambian mission account in Turkey for the procurement of real estate without following the law, while his co-accused Mr. Malanji is facing 8 counts of being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime. During a testimony in chief, the witness had told the court that a total of 7.5 million United States dollars was transferred into the Turkish mission account without authority. According to the witness, the funds were used to procure a chancery and 11 blocks of flats for the government in Turkey, but no proper procedure was followed. However, during cross-examination this morning, the defense discredited her testimony as it was established that there was enough fund to purchase the property, contrary to her earlier testimony that there was no fund to purchase the property. Trial continues on the 9th of June 2023. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The state has submitted before the Constitutional Court that, contrary to the allegation by former Electoral Commission of Zambia Vice Chairperson LUSAKA'S, President Hakainde Hichilema acted within the law when he notified her of the non-renewal of her contract. This is in a case in which the former ECZ Vice Chairperson LUSAKA'S has petitioned government in the Constitutional Court seeking an order that the decision by Republican President to prematurely terminate her employment as Vice President of ECZ is now void. However, in response to her claims, the Attorney General has urged the court to dismiss her case with cost because a non-renewal of her contract cannot be said to be unconstitutional. Dr. Sikazwe has cited that the Attorney General as the respondent in her petition and contends that on the 16th of June 2020, she was appointed as ECZ Vice President by former President Edgar Lungu, which appointment was ratified on 30th of September 2020, and the contract was to expire in 2027 as it was a 7-year contract. You're still watching the news on Camnet TV. Just now we take our first set of commercials. We'll be right back with more news.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
The Standing in the Gap team, in conjunction with Francis Miles Ministries International, presents the Prayer Rally Crusade and Overnight, to be held at the Ground of Healing Word International Ministries in Ibex Hill from the 25th to the 26th of May 2023, tagged Rendering the Heavens for National Revival. Don't forget, it's this Thursday, the 25th of May, time from 16 hours till 19 hours, and on Friday, the 26th 26th of May, it's from 17 hours to 20 hours. Henceforth, we continue with an overnight prayer meeting from 20 hours to 06 hours in the morning. Speakers include Apostle Sunday, Pastor Wupesi Nyangwe, and Dr. Francis Miles. Featuring in music, Ephraim, Son of Africa, Christine and Tim Reason, Pastor Gift Kaputula, Minister Temwani, Pastor Washi, and many more. You can't afford to miss this. Admission is absolutely free. It's not over until God says it's over. It is fire for fire.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Police in Lusaka have formally charged and arrested Mandevu Constituency Member of Parliament Christopher Shakafuswa for the offence of proposing violence or breaches of the law to assemblies contrary to the section of the laws of Zambia. Contrary to the laws of Zambia, rather. Police spokesperson Reha Mwanga says brief facts of the matter are that on 3rd May 2023 in Ibex Hill of Lusaka, the accused is alleged to have proposed violence to people that had assembled at the residence of former First Lady Esther Lungu in Ibex Hill. Mr. Hamonga says the accused further incited them to attack police officers who were on duty whilst executing a search warrant. He says the accused has been released on police bond and will appear in court soon. The Zambia Compulsory Standard has reminded producers and traders that it is illegal to supply products subject to compulsory standards on the market without authority from the agency. Addressing journalists at a media workshop in Lusaka Friday, ZIGSA Executive Director Gerard Chizinga says the agency will not hesitate to withdraw products from which do not comply with a compulsory standard from the market. Mr. Chizinga further says offenders risk being prosecuted in line with the provision of the Compulsory Standard Act No. 3 of 2017. More in this report.
Despite Zambia having more than 60 standards being regulated under the Zambia Compulsory Standard Agency, many substandard products have continued to find themselves on the Zambian shelves, while their impact on consumers has been catastrophic. The Zambia Compulsory Standard Agency has, however, engaged the media to see how best compulsory standards can be communicated to the masses to ensure that they do not fall prey to consuming substandard commodities. ZCSA Executive Director Gerard Chizinga, who addressed journalists at a media workshop in Lusaka, has since warned producers and traders that the agency will not hesitate to withdraw products which will not comply with compulsory standards from the market.
Let me take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to remind producers that it is illegal to supply any product that falls within the scope of compulsory standards without obtaining authority from the agency. In this vein, the agency will not hesitate to withdraw any products that falls within the scope of compulsory standards if we realize that that product does not comply with the specifications of compulsory standards.
Mr. Chizinga has also appealed to the media to ensure that they communicate the right information on standards to the public, adding that the media is a critical stakeholder in information dissemination.
Further, offenders risk being prosecuted in line with the provisions of the Compulsory Standards Act. To achieve our mandate, the media plays a very critical role, and we are hoping that after this workshop, we'll be more enlightened about the mandate of the agency.
In Zambia Compulsory Standard Agency, legal advisor Mutumi Mwape has also added a voice.
Once we go, for instance, to a manufacturer, and we discover that they have a product that falls under our 61 standards, we go through what is called the inspection process. We look at the process of creating that particular product. Let me give an example of water. We will look at the whole process of purification of the water, packaging, okay, handling, the people that are handling this particular product, how it's packaged, okay, expiry dates, all the necessary information that a consumer will need, okay. we look at that. And even environmental protection. Are the manufacturing practices protecting the environment?
Paradise Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Zambia and Zimbabwe have signed a memorandum of understanding on the development of the Lower Zambezi-Manapuzi Trans-Frontier Conservation Area. Speaking on arrival at Rainbow Tower Hotel in Livingstone, Minister of Tourism Rodney Sikumba says the signing of the MOU marks the start of the two countries' joint collaboration in ensuring the sustainable development of wildlife resources in the Lower Zambezi-Manapuzi Trans-Frontier Conservation Area. Mr. Sikumba says the Loza Map TFCA will not be the first landscape in which the two neighboring countries will be jointly managing a conservation area, but the Kavango-Zambezi Trans-Frontier Conservation Area is another landscape in which the two sister countries have been working closely till the sustainable management of the natural resources is attained. And Zimbabwean Minister of Environment, Climate, Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Mangaliso Ndlovu, says the signing will bring development to the area as it will unlock the potential of the area by attracting partners who bring funding to the landscape.
We did realize that there were so many hanging pieces of this MOU that needed to be rectified, and we quickly managed to do that. Now, the gist of this particular MOU, obviously, is our continued efforts on how we're going to be managing our ecosystems within our protected areas that we have. With those particular shared resources that we have over and above the Victoria Falls, we have now signed the Loza Map TFCA. That in itself will give us an opportunity to see how best we could manage the ecosystem that we have. We do realize that today, and you'll agree with me, that Africa has now become the safe haven for a lot of enterprises. We are talking about the carbon offsets that people are talking about. They're looking at Africa, and those are opportunities that we want to look at as ministers in charge of environment, as ministers in charge of wildlife, as ministers in charge of the environment itself. So what we're trying to establish here is making sure that that particular ecosystem is managed by both sides of the Zambezi.
And our policy as government is very clear that in our protected areas we do not do mining exploration. Better still, a place like Manapuzi, which is a UNESCO protected site. It is a Ramsar wetland of international importance. We guard it jealously, and I can assure you, I can assure the viewers, anyone, that our policy as a government is that we protect our protected areas.
Sure, Trans-Frontier Conservation Area by nature does not imply protected areas only, but also a multiple mosaic of various land uses, including traditional land, safari areas, and then formally protected areas. So it's not only protected areas, but the key, I suppose, the bottom line of this. So in general, the TFCA development, such as these, supports your regional development opportunities, and that unlocks quite a lot of support financially and technically.
The Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock in Northwestern Province has encouraged farmers to continue growing more forage and pasture to improve the nutrition of the animals and enhance livestock production and productivity in the province. Northwestern Provincial Livestock Development Officer Bona Zulu has further challenged the livestock farmers to take livestock farming as a serious business and as a way of improving food security and income levels. Here are the details by Nais.
They have gathered in style to gain more knowledge and skills in livestock production. These are livestock farmers from Solwezi who are here to experience forage and pasture management in livestock, attending a forage production training and demonstration field day supported by Enhanced Small Order Livestock Investment Program, ISRIP, under the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, will definitely enhance the nutrition of animals and improve livestock production in the province. Bona Zulu is Northwestern Provincial Livestock Development Officer.
The whole objective is just to improve production and productivity through improved forage production. So we grow some forages, as you can see behind me, because the whole message is that for improved livestock production and productivity, nutrition is a very key aspect to that. So we're encouraging our farmers to learn just how to make sure that They either grow or conserve the fodders that they might have.
And Northwestern Provincial Fisheries and Livestock Marketing Development Officer Ivwananji Simuchimba, producing quality livestock is key in marketing.
Our job, like our department is doing here under livestock, is first to train us on what kind of feed to give our animals so that they grow healthy. So that even when we decide to go into market, we know that what we're taking to the market will be accepted. Because there are so many types of market. There's the internal market where you sell to your neighbor. There's a middle market where you sell to traders and outlets, and then there's a high-end market where you now sell across the board. So when we come to the issue of marketing, we should not say that there's no market. The market is available. But then sometimes some people do not want the kind of goats that we're producing because they look sickly, or because that the cattle that we're providing does not satisfy the demand.
As for Solwezi District Livestock Technician Mirambo Nayame and livestock farmer Lozi Musamvu, the field day is beneficial.
Farmers are adopting and they are beginning to grow and utilize the things and the technologies that they are being taught. We are encouraging farmers to take up the technologies that they are being taught, and those that are thinking of venturing into livestock production like cattle, goats, chickens, they are welcome to the Livestock Development Department in Solwezi.
Nutritional value for the animals will be very, very important for my animals that I'm keeping at the farm. It is going to increase my profit margin because I will have to give them the right food at the right time, like I am keeping mine. Chickens, goats, and the cattle shall be improved.
This year's Livestock Field Day was held under the theme Sustainable Forage Production and Utilization. Krivat Chituta, reporting in Solwezi, Northwestern Province.
We'll take our last break. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Standing in the Gap team, in conjunction with Francis Miles Ministries International, presents the Prayer Rally Crusade and Overnight, to be held at the Ground of Healing Word International Ministries in Ibex Hill from the 25th to the 26th of May 2023, tagged Rendering the Heavens for National Revival. Don't forget, it's this Thursday, the 25th of May, time from 16 hours till 19 hours, and on Friday, the 26th of May, it's from 17 hours to 20 hours. Henceforth, we continue with an overnight prayer meeting from 20 hours to 06 hours in the morning. Speakers include Apostle Sunday, Pastor Wupesinyangwe, and Dr. Francis Miles. Featuring in music, Ephraim, Son of Africa, Christine and Tim Reason, Pastor Gift Kaputula, Minister Temwani, Pastor Washi, and many more. You can't afford to miss this. Admission is absolutely free. It's not over until God says it's over. It is fire for fire.
Welcome back, and now the rest of the news. In international news, FULGENCE KAYISHEMA, suspected of having played a key role in the 1995 Tutsi genocide in Rwanda, was tried in court in Cape Town on Friday, 2 days after his arrest on a South African farm after being on the run for 22 years. The former fugitive is charged by international justice with genocide, complicity in genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, and crimes against humanity. Mr. KAYISHEMA, 62, who until his arrest was one of the last 4 fugitives wanted for their role in the genocide that led to the deaths of over 800,000 Rwandans, most of them Tutsis, at the hands of Hutu extremists, appeared impassive in the dock. In other international news, the recent assassination of a senior election official in Myanmar suggests a vote is unlikely this year. Here is a roundup of international news.
Fulgence KAYISHEMA, suspected of having played a key role in the 1994 Tutsi genocide in Rwanda, was tried in court in Cape Town on Friday, 2 days after his arrest on a South African farm. The former fugitive is charged by international justice with genocide, complicity in genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide and crimes against humanity. During his first appearance, the question of his extradition to Rwanda was not raised. The accused has been remanded in custody in Portsmouth High Security Prison near Cape Town. The next hearing is scheduled for June 2nd. Mr. KAYISHEMA was the target of an arrest warrant issued by the international mechanism responsible since 2015 for completing the work of the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, set up by the UN after the genocide. The 62-year-old, partly responsible for the death of 800,000 Rwandans, is one of the 4 fugitives still wanted by international justice for their alleged role in the genocide. The others are still on the run.
A security camera captures the moment 2 assassins open fire on a car on the streets of Yangon. Inside, the Deputy Director of the Union Election Commission, killed in the attack. Security's been tight in Myanmar's largest city since the military coup in 2021. And incidents like this, say the military, are the reason it can't guarantee a return to electoral democracy. Speaking to Al Jazeera in late March, the spokesman conceded that as much as a third of the country is not under junta control.
It is difficult for me to say exactly when the general elections will be held. Our intention is to include the whole country, which is what a system of free and fair multi-party democracy means. In order to do that, the voters and the candidates must be absolutely safe, without any stress, without any pressure or threats.
But those voters will also have limited choices at the ballot box.
This unassuming building is the headquarters of the National League for Democracy, what was the party of government, which has now been dissolved. But that leaves an enormous problem for any elections and the politics of Myanmar. Every election that this party took part in won an enormous landslide.
Recent changes in the registration process allowed the Union Election Commission to dissolve 40 parties at the end of March. Those parties that managed to register have strong allegiances to the military. And even they aren't hopeful a vote will happen anytime soon.
After the military coup, we initially estimated the general elections would be held in mid-2023. The military say it is impossible for them to happen this year, even next year. The earliest is likely to be at the end of 2024.
Those committed to peaceful demonstrations say they'll do everything to disrupt the electoral process. This protest leader, who asked to remain anonymous, believes that no democracy is better than a flawed democracy.
It's the same situation as in 1992 and 1993. If they hold elections, it means the forces of democracy are defeated. That's why we are trying to stop the coming elections.
The military is clearly in no hurry to call elections, and when it does, the polls will be on its terms. But the people of Myanmar also seem to have little interest in a flawed electoral process that'll do little to accelerate a return to real democracy.
And that is all the news that we had in international news. Time now for sports news. Vedanta Resources Zambia Corporate Communications Director Masuzi Ndlovu says the organization will continue to support key areas on social development such as health, education, sustainable livelihoods and sports development even as they seek to return to KAMWALA copper mines KCM. Speaking during the handover of 188,500 kwacha to AGUILA Football Club Friday morning, Mr. Ndlovu says the organization has in this regard identified the football club to be part of its beneficiaries due to the club's excellent performance. Meanwhile, responding to the gesture, AGUILA Football Club President Chembe Chiwe says the funding will help the club to grow and be more competitive.
And so with this allocation, we intend to do quite a lot of corporate social responsibility programs in the country, especially in the host communities, in the communities where Vedanta operates. And our areas include Chirilawombwe, Chingola, Kitwe, and Nampundwe. And of course, we are also part of the national events of the country. So this particular allocation will be used for different activities affecting the country's economy. And what we are going to do is that we are going to have a community trust, and through this community trust, that is going to comprise representation from members of the community, civic leaders, and of course other community leaders will be part of this trust, and decisions will be made at that particular point on what particular projects we can embark on.
So we are delighted that Vedanta can come to our aid because if you look at the national first division, which is within the Zambia Premier League, it covers the whole nation. So you're traveling to the length and breadth of the country. You're traveling to Mpulungu, for example, and you're traveling to the opposite, Livingston, through the Copper Belt to Kalumbila, where the Champions-elect Trident Football Club, sponsored by FQM, hail from. So a donation like this, Dr. Banda, Mr. Ndo, really encourages not only us, but the players themselves, because they are the main recipients of these funds.
We end the news, but before we go, we look at the headlines once again. Railway line land reserve encroached in LUSAKA'S KAMWALA area. Pressure group demands the return of Vedanta Resources Limited. Government set to start the distribution of health kits across the country. In international headlines, Rwandan genocide, FULGENCE KAYISHEMA tried in Cape Town. And in sports, Vedanta Resources Limited gifts AGUILA Football Club Zambia 188,000 kwacha, 500 kwacha. And we now look at the Camnet verse for today, coming from the book of Psalms 127, verse 1 to 3. It reads, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves." Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Luizia Nalupumbwe. Good night.